Boy, my hair is messy, but whatever. You don't need to have nice hair to find murderers. Alright. Alright. If I remember correctly, we were about to talk to these two idiots. Not idiots. They're very smart people. Just not sure why they know each other, and not sure why they're connected, but they are. The evidence is pointing that way. We're definitely going to try to see if we can't figure out what's going on with them. But my biggest concern is getting the voices right. As you know, every week I fuck up, but really like it if my glasses would stop fogging up. There we go. They're gonna fog up again anyway, because I just got out of the shower, so I'm super moist. I know people don't like that word, but I love it. It's great, especially on cake. Anyway. In the cemetery, 10 years earlier. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery at all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting, shall we say. Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. But thinking back now, I realized that I never actually saw the professor. Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article. So just my first thought from that was he's saying he went there to go moonlighting because of how the article looked. The article that was written about him. The article that was written about him in the graveyard already. So yeah, that time frame doesn't really line up now, does it? But let's go ahead and see what Ryunosuke has to say. Wait a minute, you're claiming you didn't actually see the professor now? Of course, you'd have to have a screw loose if you believed a corpse could come back from the dead. But, so you're saying this article is not worth the paper it's printed on? I think that would describe it perfectly, yes. If the details in the article aren't true, it nullifies your argument for why Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe would have been working together. So he's discrediting himself to cripple my argument? Tell me, witness. You claim to have been in the cemetery on some auxiliary business. Can you elaborate? That's right. Grave robbing, to be precise. As you know, Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So among students at the university, it had a reputation for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Grave robbing, you say? Yes, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never laid a finger on any valuables buried with the dead. So you were one of the so-called resurrectionists, a particularly unpleasant scourge on society. Actually, my fellows and I went by another name. The Repurposers. Oh, how nice. That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir. Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. I see. Out of interest, who drew the illustration for this article? Ah, yes, that was the reporter who exposed me. He sketched that right in front of me as I described the scene. Obviously, as time ticked on, I bitterly regretted what I'd done. Claiming to have seen something I never truly saw. Foolish, very foolish. Hey, Morrow, how you doing? Welcome in. How was traffic school for your ticket in Nebraska? I'm sorry, that just That cracked me up. I don't know why. Just because it's Nebraska, maybe. It's like in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. But I hope that went smoothly. I hope the rest of your day is going smoothly as well. Fuck Nebraska. If they had more to do there, maybe they wouldn't have so much free time to pull you over, you know? Sorry. But it's nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're having a good evening, whatever you guys are doing over there. It went alright, at least I can do each section in parts. That's good. That is great. And you have tomorrow off, right? So, even better. I don't, so I'm going to be suffering, but I hope you enjoy your time. How am I doing? I'm alright. I'll be suffering, absolutely. Yeah, I will be. It's been a crazy week, and it's only Wednesday. It's only Tuesday. It already feels like it should be Thursday, you know? Your resub notification didn't go off? Really? I thought you did that last week. But I'm sorry. I wonder if my Streamlabs is fucking up right now. Hold on, let me check real quick. Come on, log in. Yeah, my last event said Dragon Kuro 4 days ago. That sucks though, if it's not working. Hold on, let me test real quick.
Damn it, Allegory.
Damn it, Allegory.
Damn it, Allegory.
Damn it, Allegory!
Damn it, Allegory.
Damn it, Allegory.
God damn it, Allegory.
Damn it, Allegory.
God damn it, Allegory.
No, Streamlabs seems fine. Sound alerts was being done for me last time I streamed? Yeah, I remember you and Funky were talking about that. That's unfortunate, but I thought you guys said you got it to work. I know, at least there you go. Does that make up for it? At least you got to hear the yelling again. I mean, that's cool, right? Oh man. Anyway, I got super excited today because I found an Ocarina of Time randomizer that also randomizes the pots and the crates, and they call it Pot Sanity, and I'm dying to try it. I really want to try it tomorrow if I can. Today I just want to get some Ace Attorney in, but tomorrow I'm going to do some Pot Sanity and see how that goes, you know? At least they have it so that, like, unchecked pots are going to be yellow, but as soon as you break them and take the item, they go back to normal. So, you'll know what you checked already and what you haven't checked. So, it's going to be fun, though. I'm looking forward to it. I'm super psyched. Hopefully tomorrow I don't have to work late, so I can go ahead and do it, but, you know. For now, Ace Attorney. Well, counsel for the defense, you may proceed to the cross-examination now. At once, my lord. Cross-examination in the cemetery 10 years earlier. Boy, I forgot that was a mouthful last time. Boy. Oh, great. The reason I was in Locate Cemetery at all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting. Yeah, I don't believe that. Elaborate. By moonlighting, you mean grave robbing, do you? Surely you only need to look at the graveyard scene and my appearance to gauge the answer to that. The lantern and spade. But who on earth would want to buy a dead body? Any major hospital. A hospital? In order to better understand the human body, the study of anatomy is crucial to medical science. But there isn't a hospital in the world that has enough specimens to work with. So obviously, they could openly express an interest in obtaining more by dubious means. As aspiring scientists, we young research students had no money to work with, as I'm sure you can imagine. So we made surreptitious arrangements with a hospital via some of our medical student acquaintances. We would never take anything of value from the graves. This was all for the furtherance of science, you see. That's what we all told ourselves every time we stole into the graveyard, at night, spade in hand. You realize body snatching is a serious crime. If you were caught, you could expect the gravest of consequences. We students were caught between the hammer and the anvil. We needed funds for research. Professor Harebrand said exactly the same. I'm quite speechless at the apparent levity with which you revealed this abhorrent behavior. Well, if you wanted to know why I was there at Lowgate Cemetery, that's the reason. But I never expected it to end the way it did. That I regret to this day. Dun 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 dun. Sorry. Hold it! The strange happening at Lowgate Cemetery, which you now deny. Not entirely. I ran to fetch the police at the time, you know. I was shaking like a leaf. But they didn't believe a word of it. In fact, I was very nearly arrested myself. So you went to the papers instead? I started big with the London News, but unsurprisingly, they didn't want to know either. In the end, though, it was reporters from the gossip rags, the gutter press, that came to get my story. And it spread like the plague through the capital as gossip-hungry Londoners lapped up the tale. The story was in every single paper at the time, with the exception of some broadsheets. And yet only 2 or 3 of them actually interviewed me personally. Most of the accounts turned out to be very interpretive ghost stories. What about the article in the Daily Circus? That particular journalist found me at my dormitory. I don't know how, but he discovered my name. So I recounted to him exactly what had happened that night. And from your description, he drew this illustration? Precisely. That's how I learned that the condemned man was the infamous professor. Because the reporter told me so. I had no idea myself, you see. Newspaper reporters are wont to snoop around in matters that don't concern them. So the scene portrayed in the illustration is accurate, then. Well... Dun, 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 dun. This is the bullshit right here. What are you talking about? I think I explained already, didn't I? Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison, so it was renowned amongst us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. For some absurd reason, I was scared of the graveyard at night, and as a result, only too willing to believe that nonsense about the dead coming back to life. But you said you actually saw it. I said what I'd seen in my mind's eye. After all, resurrection is impossible, isn't it? You'd have to be unhinged to think otherwise. Unless, of course, you have some evidence that proves I encountered the professor that night? I don't know. Is there any material evidence that could show he really did see the professor? If we have anything at all, Mr. Naruhodo... I know, I need to present it against that irritatingly backtracking statement of his. The point is, that night was a pivotal moment in my life. I feel like we do have evidence. It has to be the camera with the blood on it. I think. Hold on. I gotta look at that picture. Where's it? This one. Yeah, see, he's got the camera. And the camera had blood on it. Boom. Dun 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 dun. I found the link. I'm gonna still press him because I want more info. Also, I'm gonna turn the volume down a bit. God damn, why is it so loud? Oh my god, it's that low and it's still so loud. Okay. Sorry, it's blaring in my ears. I had to turn it down just a bit, but let's get back to this. Awesome timing. I turned down my volume so the game would stop blaring in my ears, and then the just bah, 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 bah. Anyway, FML, thank you so much for the raid, my friend. Maro, are you still here? Can you shout him out, or should I do that? Thank you, Maro. You're the best. But hey, FML, welcome in. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. You were last playing Lunar. Good. Already on it. Thank you, Maro. Appreciate it. How was Lunar? How is that? I don't think I've ever heard of that game. I know you mentioned it last time when I was watching you finish Metroid Prime. But yeah, I don't think I've ever played it. I assume it's like a JRPG type or something? Like Final Fantasy-ish, maybe? I don't know. I'm not going to assume, obviously, but still, I appreciate the raid nonetheless. How's your night going, sir? How's your week going so far? How is everything in your life? Tell me about it. That young woman being Madame Tussbells, of course. Precisely. I must say I didn't expect to run into her again, like this 10 years later. As I have explained, I went by the name published in the article, and Komakai found the man. Yes, the article in the Daily Circus, I think you said. I was a poor student with barely a penny to my name at the time. And the young lady put £5 in front of me. So you readily consented to having waxwork of yourself made and gave permission for it to be put on display. I did. I should sell what little I had to sell, I concluded. Ah, oui. I remember now. I purchased something else from you that day, n'est-ce pas? What'd she buy from you, dude? Did you? I can't say I remember. Oh, the camera. She bought the freaking camera. That's why I have it. It was on the dummy in her shop, and I gotta go rub it in this guy's face. What was it, madam? There it is, his camera. Wow, I didn't even... Okay. I am like one step ahead of this game, which is not a big step. I'm like one tiptoe ahead of this. Whatever. His camera. Ah. Oh yes, I made a point of taking it with me whenever I made an excursion into any cemetery. You took a camera with you, sir. To what end? To record the details of the bodies I'd disinterred. But I had no intention of ever visiting a graveyard again after that night, so I sold it. I see. But I still have it, monsieur. It is part of the special exhibit in my House of Horrors. I am very meticulous about such details. It is the Tussbells way. It would seem, then, that this is the very camera Mr. Drebber took with him to Lowgate Cemetery on the night in question. Yes, interesting. The details of the camera have been updated in the court record. Really? Oh. If I had presented it before this, it wouldn't have... Okay, got it. Do. I'm going to press them one more time, and then we're going to go back and present the camera. This article, you mean? Published in the Daily Circus? Yes, somebody informed the dean that it was my name that appeared in the article. And carelessly let slip that night after night, I was digging up graves. Hardly a model student, you might say. The university's reputation was... I don't know how to pronounce that word. It's not often I run into this problem. Execrably defiled? Execrably. I think it's execrably. Execrably defiled, and I was expelled as a result. Mon Dieu, I had no idea. And having been run out of university, you found employment in a somewhat specialist trade. You combined your knowledge of science with knowledge of stage magic to create various experimental machines intended to demonstrate never-before-seen technology. And you use those deceptive machines to trick the government and private investors into giving you money. He's a bad guy. FML is a quiet boy. It's okay. Some people like to just raid and then go. It's totally understandable. Yo, my Twitch was fucking up. That's okay. It doesn't seem to be going so well. Maro tried to resub, but apparently it didn't go through earlier, so... You know. Your raid did work, yes. I got the notification, it scared the crap out of me, it did everything it was supposed to do. So yes, it did work, but thank you, FML, for for coming back and checking. So convenient. Yes, it's convenient that Twitch is not working just in time for FML to raid, and it works. I don't know what your luck is today, Morrow, but it certainly isn't good. Oh my god. Sweet water. But yeah, it said you were playing Lunar Final, or FML. I don't know why I said Final. How was Lunar? I wanted to hear about it. Professor Albert Harebrain was just your latest victim, wasn't he? Whatever are you talking about? I have no recollection of doing anything of the sort. Why is China not helping? Morrow, Lunar taught me about friendship tonight. Friendship! It's magic. Is that what I taught you? Friendship is magic? Because that's accurate. Was it good? Good, I'm glad. What kind of game is Lunar? I'm assuming it's... I was saying this earlier, but it's like a JRPG, I think? Because I've never heard of it, honestly. I know you were talking about it when you were finishing Metroid Prime, but I still had no idea what it was. I probably should have looked it up. It's magic. What's Trevor up to? Why would he suddenly change his tune and recant his claim? I wonder if perhaps it's because his circumstances have changed now. What circumstances? Well, if he admits to having seen the professor emerging alive from his grave 10 years ago, he will expose a secret in Dr. Side's past that she would desperately want to hide. Yes, of course. If Trevor and Dr. Side are working together now, then if Trevor were to betray her, there would be no reason for her to continue to cooperate. In that case, there's only one way around it. I'll have to prove he really did see it. Prove he really did see the professor's corpse coming back from the dead as he originally claimed. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, exactly. Yeah, it's JRPG. How old is that game? I don't think it's a recent one, right? Nope. Present... Well, actually, let's save first, because we bitches in here. And we scared of losing. Bum 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 bum. Alright, present... the camera.
Objection.
Oh, it's wrong. Why is it wrong? Originally came out on Sega Saturn? Oh, damn. I had one of those a long time ago. But yeah, I haven't used that in a long fucking time. Or heard of that. What does it have a date on it? You know what? I'm probably going to get this wrong many times before I get it right, so I'm just going to try this one for funsies.
Objection.
Okay, nope. It said he had to give up being a scientist, but he had a trophy. Like, fucking... Doesn't that mean he was still in school or something? I honestly forgot all the games I played on Sega Saturn now that I think about it. Except for Knights. Knights is the one game I remember playing. It was really interesting, though. Do I press him again? What are you talking about? Oh. I already pressed him on this one, but... It's the camera! I have the camera! Do I need to examine the camera again? Is that what's going on here? Camera. How do I extend it? Extendo camera, go! What a wonderful machine, blah blah blah. We already went over this. And then it's right there. There's the blood. Why does no one believe... Wait, is that on two sides? No, it's on one side. I'm just an idiot. And this is the case that should have the glass. But someone took it out. Oh, this is new text. Yes, that's right. Isn't it incredible to think that this is the actual camera Mr. Trevor used that night? I certainly never imagined a piece of evidence would be on display in Madame Tuspel's. She's very keen on everything being as true to life as possible, though, isn't she? That didn't change anything, though. Oh, great. Now I went through the effort of reading that in voices. It didn't matter. That girl's hair is cute as fuck. Who, Susato? Susato's is cute, yeah. I like the chick with the death glare. She makes my body feel tingly. Don't quote me on that. Hmm. Oh, Asmon was the reporter. That doesn't help me right now, though. What does this do? Oh. Courtney Stevens. Yep, that's the doctor. What the hell am I doing? Yeah, this is the locked waxwork head. Man. It's gotta be the camera, though, doesn't it? Did I just present it on the wrong thing? Hey, Fern, how you doing today, buddy? Welcome on in. How's your evening going? What are you up to? Tell me all about yourself today, sir. I want to know what you've been up to. This chick right here, FML, is this the one? This is not the one you're talking about, right? This one on the right, over here. The one that stares daggers into you and just... Oh my god. This cross-examination was pretty tough to figure out as the clues were vague at best. I got stumped on it for quite a while. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped on it right now because I pressed everything. No one else on the bench gave me any more information. I tried presenting the camera on this one because they went into like some detail. Like, if you have evidence about this, though, it's like, yeah, the camera that you bought had the blood on it, or that you sold to Tuspel had the blood. How did the blood get there? That's what I want to know. It had to come from the professor, right? I assume it came from the professor. But maybe I present that here? It's okay, I can just load the game. I can reset my tries. I love saving the game. No, Kimono Girl. Ah, Susato. Yep, she is pretty adorable. That's true. Very positive, very bubbly. Still more interested in Death Glare Girl here, but... I'll just try the camera here, I guess.
Objection.
Nope, didn't like that either. Wow, don't send me back to Japan, Captain. Wow. That's so mean. Don't send me back yet. Hold on, I'm gonna load real quick. I lost 3 lives. Is it? He said he was a poor student with no funding, but... He had the award trophy, didn't he? Game not realistic enough? When is the sleeping with your client level coming? Hopefully never, because our client is a male professor named Professor Hairbrain, who looks like a pasty white nerd. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's our client. This definitely ain't our client. Also, cute chick in the kimono. Not our, not our client either. That's our assistant, which actually kind of sounds more likely. Anyway, what the fuck am I missing here? Grave robbing. Oh, Gina. I forget Gina wasn't here. It's just Madame Tuspells. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking assistant is very likely, actually. Good roleplay. Definitely sounds like, well, actually, I was going to say sounds more likely than lawyer and client roleplay, but actually both sound pretty likely to people who enjoy roleplaying. They both have their kinky natures. I don't believe this dude. Okay. X-Gamer, the expert, resident expert here, said it was tough, so I'm gonna get a little hint, I guess. Because I don't want to sit here and not make any progress. Dun 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 dun. Oh. Where am I? Wait. No. Oh, whatever. What part am I at? Oh, trial 4. Okay. Okay, this is the one I want. Okay, that was... Alright, that's... I don't think I would have gotten that for a while. I'm sorry. Pasty nerd guys get all the... That's really... Well, I'm the only one that he has to get with right now. And believe me, he's not interested in me. He's interested in his goddamn machine. Real clue here is the fact that Trevor knows something he shouldn't. That's true, but, like... He doesn't reference it in his testimony. If he had said something in his testimony about it, about the metal mask, that would have been a much better way to kind of let someone connect the dots. But instead, he just says, oh yeah, I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So, like, even though the article is based on his eyewitness account, who's to say that the journalist didn't just fabricate it? I mean... It's a weird one, honestly. That one's a weird one. Sorry, Mr. Trevor, but I don't believe that. Don't believe what? Your latest claim. You did see the professor on that night 10 years ago. Oh dear, we seem to be at odds. But I was there, and you were not. I know what I didn't see. The illustration with this article was drawn based upon what you told the journalist that you witnessed. A figure emerging from a tomb, wearing an iron mask. Yes, when the killer was tried 10 years ago. It was decided in the closed court's ruling that the man would wear the mask to hide his identity. It wasn't to be removed even during his execution and subsequent burial. Not even the prison wardens were to see the man's face. But obviously the provision of this mask was not public knowledge. So, Mr. Trevor, as you've just heard... a lowly student of the University of London certainly wouldn't have known about the condemned man's mask. So unless you'd actually seen the professor that night, It's inconceivable that the artist would have included that mask in that illustration. I don't know. See, this is a little bit of a stretch, but I'll roll with it, you know, for the sake of just keeping it going. I gotta go do Ohio things now, so I'll bid you good night. Well, have fun with your Ohio things, FML. I hear Ohio things are really great and fun. Well, no, I'm gonna go ahead and just end that joke there. It was, it's gonna be terrible. But yes, please, FML, thank you so much for the raid, sir. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your night. I'm gonna miss you. I love you. Bye-bye. Again, that one was vague at best. Agreed. Agreed, X-Gamer. That one was kind of a stretch, which I don't usually appreciate, but again, we're just gonna roll with it so that we can continue. Order, order! Well, Mr. Drebber? It's a vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely. And as I've already been at pains to point out, I was utterly petrified. Which is why I had it in my head that I'd seen such a blood-curdling sight. But afterwards I came to my senses, and realized that I'd been mistaken. You're still saying you didn't see it? If you're stubbornly sticking to that story, witness, then amend your testimony to explain exactly how you think your eyes deceived you. Of course, only too happy to oblige. Your name is Morrow, it is. For fun Ohio stuff? Absolutely. I can't believe he's still not going to concede the point. What I in fact witnessed was a fellow grave robber at work.
Hold it!
Wow, okay. Let's hear this one. A fellow grave robber? What are you talking about? Well, I wasn't the only one busy in the cemetery that night, you know. Other body snatchers were at work. Of course, when I saw one emerging from the hole he dug, my heart very nearly stopped. So that's the terrifying sight I actually saw, you see. You're claiming it was just another student on equally insalubrious business as yourself. Whoops. Many of the medical students would wear metal masks to protect them from bacteria during dissections. Clearly the fellow was using such a mask to protect his anonymity. Anonymity. Right? I don't know how to pronounce that one either. Wouldn't you say?
Objection.
There's more to the story, isn't there? The article goes on to say, in the next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. The bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath then stilled once more. We might assume that the sexton discovered the miscreants at work, perhaps, and fired upon one of them. If a gravedigger had shot someone in the cemetery, I think it might have been rather big news, my lord. Ah, yes, well. I can only assume it was an embellishment.
Strange.
An embellishment bolted on later by the reporter. Madam Tuspels, do you have something to tell me? Excuse me. Madam Tuspels, don't take it out on Mr. Sholmes. Oh la la, pardon. I was lost in my thoughts. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Drebber's last remark was significant to you in some way? I thought it was a little strange, that is all. How Monsieur Drebber could claim this now. If you don't mind me saying, madam, what are you talking about? Well, when I met you 10 years ago at your university dormitory, you recounted to me about your adventures in the cemetery, non? Including the gunshot. Stop. You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Objection.
Have a care, Drebber. That's no way to speak to a lady. I love how, like, every other word of Drebber's is, like, in red. Like, why? Why is it all red? He just said grr. Apparently that was red. That was important. Seems unlikely that that's significant to the story in some way. But you know what? Who am I to say? Maybe grr is important. Please, Madam Tuspels, carry on. Of course. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, he did hear a gunshot from behind him, and the bullet hit the condemned man. I said nothing of the sort. None. You were very explicit about the details. About the mask that the figure was wearing. And the blood that spattered over you when he was shot. Enough. Shut up, woman. You're making all this up. That will do. Mr. Drebber. Yes? You refute the account just given by Madame Tuspels? I have no recollection of ever saying those things. Come on, do you really expect us to believe you? Control yourself, counsel. I will not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom. Really? Because that's kind of how my job works. I make baseless accusations until we just kind of arrive at the truth. Maybe. Maybe it's a tick of his? Which one's a tick of his? Tick of whose? Did I mention a tick? Oh. Oh, important red stuff? Maybe. Maybe he just enunciates it, I guess. Right. Under the circumstances, I think it best that you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this witness. Very well. Dun 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 dun. Let's get him. There was no gunshot from behind me at all, nor any spattering of blood. Okay, this is where we do the camera. But I'm going to press him first, because let's see what he says. Yet Madame Tuspels has testified that you told her about both of those details. Not true. I said nothing of the sort. 10 years have passed. Without material evidence to the contrary, you have no grounds on which to question the witness's word. Tell me, Madame Tuspels. Oui? What exactly did Mr. Drebber say about the blood that apparently spattered on him? Alas, this is what he told me. All of a sudden, he heard a very loud gunshot from behind his back. The bullet hit the figure who was emerging from the tomb in the middle of the chest, in his heart. One dreadful sight after another. And since Monsieur Drebber was at the time facing towards the condemned man, the blood sprayed from the wound and spattered on his body. That is what he told me. So, not an experience you would ever forget, is it? Precisely. And I didn't forget it, because as I've already said, it never happened in the first place. He's clearly lying. Yeah, I know, we figured that out like hours ago. Come on. If only I had some evidence to prove it. We can't let him win, Mr. Naruhodo. So we mustn't overlook a single detail, no matter how small. Don't worry, I got evidence. Alright, let's present it. I'm feeling pretty confident, so I'm just gonna do it.
Objection.
There we go. Mr. Drebber, do you remember this camera? But that is the camera from that fateful night. Yes, we borrowed it from the House of Horrors. It's the camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Drebber. And is that supposed to be significant? This kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleague and I were keen to examine it closely. We noticed the lens extends forwards on the end of some bellows. Like this.
Hold it.
What's that? There, just on the bellows. It looks like a dark red stain. Oh. That's right. It's a rather conspicuous mark here on the bellows, in fact. Good lord, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. It would appear to be a spatter of blood. Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Isn't that right, Dr. Scythe? It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood and not the blood of some animal. But yes, to test whether or not it is blood at all is simple enough. I propose that Madame Tuspel's testimony was correct, and that on the night in question 10 years ago, you were spattered with blood from the gunshot wound. Well, and that furthermore, you really did witness the condemned professor emerging from his tomb. Dun-no-no-no-no-no. Gah. That one I didn't mind doing, because his voice is very easy. There's simply no way you could have forgotten such a traumatic experience. In other words, the only explanation is that you're trying to hide the fact that you saw the professor that night.
Objection.
But why? Why would he want to do that? Well, not for his own gain, it would seem. For whose, then? Who could benefit? Mr. Drebber is obviously lying in order to protect somebody. My goodness, he's shielding someone? Yes, my lord, and clearly, it's someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed. Well, Counsel, who is it then? Who is this witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw that night? Fucking, didn't they just get mad at me for implicating someone, and now they're just like, who could it be? Like, it's the bitch I told you about a second ago. It's Scythe.
Take that.
The obvious answer is Dr. Scythe. Scythe? Whatever do you mean? Imagine if the convict who'd been sentenced to death was not in fact killed. Imagine if that was to come to light. What are you insinuating? And imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor... That would be an unprecedented scandal.
Objection.
This is beyond a joke. Need I point out that the dead cannot come back to life? What you're suggesting would mean that the execution never actually happened. Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
Objection.
Once a man is sent to the gallows, he hangs. No one could escape, not in Great Britain.
Objection.
I love how formal Van Zeek's objections are, and then he pops in with, like, a second grader's objection drawing, just like, objection! Fucking great. But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact that the man did escape his hanging. If that were really true, Counsel, the implications of misconduct would not stop at the supervising coroner. It would taint the honor of the entire judiciary from the ground up. And it's exactly because of those monumental repercussions that Dr. Scythe would consent to any demand made of her by someone who threatened to expose the secret, even if that meant being complicit in a crime. You mean? I mean that Dr. Scythe wasn't collaborating in Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme. She was coerced into collaborating in order to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the dead body of Mr. Asmund with the waxwork model and fabricated the autopsy report. I'm not pretending to do that. I can barely do girls' voices. Okay, his leg's up. That's kinky. Lord Van Zeek's. Pray forgive my freshly filled hallowed chalice, and a whole raft of other discourtesies now. Goodness me. It's just the sort of tall tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. An executed killer rising from the dead, a Scotland Yard cover-up, a conspiracy at the highest levels. So let me ask you one thing. What's that? If the condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night, only to be shot in the chest, who pulled the trigger and disposed of him forever? Well, I have no idea at the moment. We have too little information to work that out at present, I think. I couldn't agree more. The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies. Yeah. And have you considered this, my learned Nipponese friend? Consider what? Do you realize just what a dangerous endeavor it would be to coerce this woman into such a criminal activity? It's tantamount to declaring war on the entire British police force and judiciary. Cut! I remember no come money bring up a corner. To rely on some stage deception when so much is at stake would be madness. Well, I suppose. This was no petty crime either. The victim was murdered. A man who'd already invested money in the venture and would be instrumental in future profits too. Yes, I had no reason to kill Mr. Asmund at all. Or are you forgetting that his death results in me receiving not a single penny? The court is already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no? There is the contract, that's very true. The motive for this case runs deep, though. I can feel it. Feel it in my Japanese bones. Using threats to force the head of the forensic investigation team to cooperate is extreme. Especially for a government grant he had no guarantee of receiving in the first place. If the research grant was the aim, taking Mr. Asmund's life would have made no sense anyway. Which means Mr. Trevor's motive wasn't money at all. He was just trying to kill Mr. Asmund. But why? What was his motive then? Your time is up, my learned friend. I'd say you have one last chance before the jury lose their patience with this charade. Let's see if you can back up your heady proposal, shall we? He dodged. How do you explain why this engineer would throw all caution to the wind and threaten his own country? At this point, I'm not prepared to listen to more of this outlandish conjecture without proof. So, counsel, present your evidence. Alright, who exactly was Mr. Asmund to Trevor? There's a connection there that no one's seen yet, which is weird because I saw it as soon as we saw the evidence, but no one else saw it. And I'm going to have to present two pieces of evidence to show what it is. Come on, you ain't no idiot sandwich this time, Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. The evidence that establishes a motive and explains why the witness wanted the victim dead is right here. In the save button. Because that's what I do. I save when it's convenient. It said to present two, right? So... does it matter which one I pick first? Because it's both, but...
Take that!
It's this newspaper article, my lord. That was written 10 years ago, and every detail has been examined already. What can it possibly tell us? That drivel should never have been written. It's typical gutter press nonsense that means nothing. Yes, on its own it isn't particularly significant, however. When considered alongside another piece of evidence, it will completely explain your motive for wanting Mr. Asmund dead. What other evidence? Counsel, you will present your supplementary evidence without delay. The evidence, which when cross-referenced with the newspaper article, establishes a motive for the deed. Yeah, it's this thing right here.
Take that!
It's this contract, my lord. Mr. Trevor, this is the contract you signed with Mr. Asmund. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact. That proves I had no reason to kill the man. No, I'm afraid not. What? There's something very significant that this newspaper article and the contract have in common. Really? And it's that common link that shows very clearly why you were determined to kill Mr. Odie Asmund. It seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us have missed. So, my learned friend, point out what these two pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between this newspaper article and the contract? Oh, it's right here, boss man.
Take that!
What these two pieces of evidence have in common is a signature. A signature? The signature on the illustration that accompanies the 10-year-old article and the signature on the contract belong to the same person. What? As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago by the newspaper reporter who found Mr. Trevor and interviewed him about his ordeal. If you look closely, the reporter's signature can be seen in the bottom right corner of the drawing. And if you look at the contract here, which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can clearly see Mr. Asmund's signature at the bottom. Let me see now. Good lord, yes, they're identical. In short, the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Trevor 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Mr. Odie Asman. Yeah, I'm not screaming that one. I'm sorry, guys.
Objection.
But explain to the court why. Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Asman? Well, if you think back, you'll remember that Mr. Drebber talked about that article in his testimony. Grave robbing, you say? Yes, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir. Yes, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it was all because of that newspaper article. Alright, what do you got to say, dude? At the time, you were a student of the University of London who dreamt of becoming a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life. So Mr. Asman used to be a newspaper journalist, did he? He did, my lord. In fact, it's a widely held belief that Asman managed to position himself at the heart of his criminal network, thanks to the many dubious connections he made during his time as a reporter. So you had to give up on your dream and leave university. You lost everything. Eventually, you found yourself working in the field of science, but only in the shadows. And all because of that article, written by Mr. Asman. Enough. Stop this endless drivel about my life. What? Explain yourself, Mr. Drebber. Yes, it's true, I had to leave the university as a result of that article. But it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. What do you mean? Almost every student of science in the faculty was too poor to actually conduct any research. But they struggled on with their hypotheses anyway, we all did, only to have them taken by vultures. Sooner or later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other, after all. Good gracious! Oh, that wasn't his voice. Sorry. Making a name for yourself as a scientist in a climate like that was a miracle only a select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses, so it was hardly a wrench. Being forced out of the university because of Logate was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Objection.
Mr. Drebber, do you genuinely believe that? Of course I do. Who's better placed to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me? I'm sorry to say that your words don't ring true at all. How dare you? And I have evidence to prove it. How are you in a position to say anything about me? I don't know you from Adam. Fine, if you think you have evidence, go ahead. Show it. What could you possibly have to disprove the idea that I was happy to leave university because I lacked talent? Easy. It's this fucking back scratcher. It's the back scratcher I found back in the lab.
Take that.
Do you remember this, Mr. Drebber? We found it at your workshop. Is that a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science? What exactly is this trophy, Counsel? It's the greatest honor that can be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord. There is no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future. Good gracious. Your prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they, Mr. Drebber? Because even then, you were a genius in your field. But you lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. All as a result of this one newspaper article. I don't know when you realized who Mr. Asman was, But when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life, it's abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving the man. The truth is... Finally, he's going to fold. No, he ain't. I don't feel like he's going to fold at all. Hold it. Yeah, that's about right. Fine. Clearly this has run its course now. What? I admit it. All of it. What? What are you doing? It's exactly as the Japanese man said. I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim, on the conditions that he kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago. No. Good lord! Dr. Scythe, do you realize what you're saying, woman? It's all true. That day, when I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the birdcage, my heart nearly stopped beating. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done to my... 1 second. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself. It was the professor again, staring me in the face. And then, before I had the chance to react, I noticed something else. There was a note tucked inside the model's jacket. Dr. Scythe, you will go along with my plan. From someone who knows the truth about what really happened that night 10 years ago. If Drebber had to scream, it would sound something like, "Oh!" All the instructions were there in the note. Every detail was meticulously written out. I had no choice but to do what it said. I made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. There was really no other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. I can only apologize now. Uh-oh. Van Zeeks is still not satisfied. He doesn't know who killed his brother. Why on earth would you buckle now? Well, there's no point in trying to hide it anymore, is there? I would have done anything to stop it coming out, even collaborate in a murder. But the great lie about that execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Whatever happens, I'm finished. So then, Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted everything. Surely it goes without saying. You admit your part in it too, then? I admit nothing, nothing at all. What? Have you forgotten that the kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? Short of me admitting to a crime, there's really no possible way for you to prove I did anything wrong. Now! That's not how he sounds, but I like it. Order, order! Whatever this man says, I admit everything. He threatened to expose my secrets, so I went along with his plan. And Lord Van Zeeks? Yes. I hope you'll accept my apologies. What happens next is in your hands, of course. I have heard more than enough now. I hereby present the final findings of this court. This trial is not the proper forum in which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Drebber. The defendant is Professor Albert Harebrain. Couldn't pronounce that right. Very true. It had slipped my mind. Isn't he one of your closest friends? As the court has heard, Dr. Scythe has admitted to the allegations brought by the defense, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt. You mean... At the present time, it is the conclusion of this court that the defendant was not involved in any wrongdoing. Does the prosecution have any objection? None, my lord. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo. You've proven Professor Harebrain's innocence. Without further ado, then, the adjudication. Unless the prosecution or defense have any other matters to discuss. I don't know. This doesn't feel quite right. Why did Dr. Scythe suddenly admit to it like that? Is everything alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Like you said before, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will certainly deliver a verdict of not guilty. Is that really what we want? What the defense should be pushing for now is... I heard Albert Heroin. I did fuck up his name for a second there. Yeah, I'm sorry. Unless you enjoy Albert Heroin. He's a cool guy. He's a little wild sometimes, but you know, you get to know him, you get to love him. Just don't let him borrow any of your stuff. What the defense should be pushing for now is further testimony. That's what I want. I want some testimony. Let's go.
Objection.
The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. I beg your pardon. We demand one final testimony. What? You do realize I'm about to adjudicate in favor of your client, I presume. What are you playing at now, my Nipponese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that. Well, I'm not in my right mind, boss. Mr. Naruhodo, what exactly are you thinking? The truth, the whole truth, and a way to bring it all out into the open. Right. Yes, in hindsight... Ah, yes, one word of warning before I go. If, in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. He's right. Sholmes is right. We gotta keep going. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes knew. He must have deduced that this would happen. Yes, I'm here in court to advocate for my client, and to secure an acquittal. Obviously. But that's not all. I believe that I have a duty to the court to pursue the whole truth of the case until every last detail is laid bare. And that is why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Scythe. Testimony from me? About what? About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. Enoch Drebber. Ha! In case it's escaped your attention, I've already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed. So stop wasting everyone's time. As his lordship made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted for him. There's simply no point protracting this business further with another tedious cross-examination.
Objection.
There we go. That's what we were waiting for. Pray forgive my careless handling of that hallowed bottle. I slipped. That's what you call it? What is your objection, Lord Banzooks? The prosecution also calls for supplementary testimony from the witness. Don't be stupid. If there is more to this case than has yet come to light, then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts until the bitter end. You'll what? Lord Van Zeeks. This is most irregular, to say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will uphold the request. Dr. Syed, you will testify for the court, explaining the full extent of your involvement in the murder apparently committed by Mr. Drebber. Aye. Very well. Witness testimony. The waxwork plot. Boy, that was much more short and succinct than the last one. It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside the jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in a certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago is a state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. Boy, there's some shit going on. Let's dig. So I was right. The stage and the machine were all specially designed for the deception. That's got to be a fun way to tell the whole court, like, after this whole shit show of a trial, you're just like, boy, guys, guess I was right in the long run, huh? Wasn't I? Jeez, wish you guys had listened to me, huh? Sorry. Just rub it in their faces, Naruhodo. You earned it. Anyway. So it seems, and all meticulously prepared, you did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. So kind of you to say. And what about this autopsy report, then? All I did was record the location of the body as being in the Crystal Tower instead of under the stage. That's all? That's a terrible corruption. Only my team were aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instructions. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you. We must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe that testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for a cross-examination, I would say. No, I disagree. I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Just look at that expression on Dr. Syed's face. Ooh, that sexy expression. Whew! It's the defense's right to cross-examine any witness following testimony. What is it about you Japanese that makes you all so doggedly persistent? Very well. If you so desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Cross-examination. The waxwork plot. Alright, it all began at the scene, blah 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 blah. Hold it! From what you described before, it sounds like the note was anonymous. Did you have any idea of who was behind it? There are very few people in the know about what really happened 10 years ago to start with. But anyway, I'd never heard of this engineer. So no, I had no idea. Yet despite not knowing who was behind the plan, you went along with it? I had no choice. Protecting the professor's secret was my only concern. But the horse had bolted now, and the stable door will never shut again. Scotland Yard's reputation will be immeasurably damaged as a result of all of this. Yes, thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm well aware of that. What is it about you Japanese that makes you so persistent? Anime! What else? It's the power of friendship. So, as I understand it, what you found in the birdcage was the waxwork model. Where, then, was the victim's body? I find that weird. If she didn't know who the engineer was, why go along with it? That is an excellent point. Alright, let's dig into this one. So you knew about the special construction of the stage used to carry out the trick then? It was quite obvious what had happened with the victim and the waxwork. And you switched the two over, didn't you? In other words, you recorded the victim's body as having been discovered in the Crystal Tower. And the waxwork... I've wrapped it and sent it by carriage to the specified address at the specified time. And why were you given such directions? Presumably so it could be recovered by Treba and returned to Madame Tuspel's. I see. And then you put the birdcage back on the experimentation stage? Yes. Also, someone obviously made a mistake about which cage should go where. I thought I'd made it perfectly clear as a team, but still. I suppose you were focused on the victim's body, that being a more important detail. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. Anyway, when you say arranged, I presume you mean with this? Yeah, the instructions in the engineer's notes said something along the lines of fabricate some evidence to make it clear that the hairbrain alone could have killed this Asman. So, you mean that was your doing? I fetched Hairbrain's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage, and took it with me, alone, to the abyss onto the stage where the birdcage had fallen. Alone, Doctor? I didn't feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in that particular part of the deception. There was a void under the stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Then, I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest. And then you noted that in your fake autopsy report as a fictitious cause of death. Exactly. So, the actual cause of death was the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop. My word. What is it, Mr. Sato? Something about Dr. Sai's last statement is playing on my mind, that's all. Yeah, mine too. Dr. Scythe. There's really no need to shout. I can hear you perfectly well. The defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony. Oh? Which part? What I want her to supplement her testimony with is... I gotta look at something real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's about right. Let's see. Broken vertebrae, but this hit here? Oh, I think they switched the cages on accident. Is that what she was saying? So, whatever the other cage... I don't know what the other cage looked like. Fuck. I'm sorry, what am I... What's... Oh, God. The real cause of death, or what she did to the victim? Because the real cause, I think we could play with the vertebrae thing, but what she did to the victim seems like a dead end, but could I be wrong? want to hear what you did to the victim, because for some reason I feel like if he had died from the fall because of the broken vertebrae, there would have been no need to stab him. I know she got instructions to fabricate evidence, but the machine itself, like the whole situation, would have been cause enough for it to be his fault with just the broken vertebrae, because then the experiment went wrong, guy died, all Harebrain's fault. But why did she stab him? We'll try them both. It's fine. We'll see. How you stab Mr. Asman in the chest. That part. Fine, if that's what you want, but there's really no need to point. The prosecution concurs. Very well. You will supplement your testimony now, witness. If you wish, my lord. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay in the toppled cage and plunged the screwdriver into the chest. Wait, didn't we establish earlier that if you did that, you would have been sprayed with blood?
Hold it!
I don't know. Thinking about it, not sure, but we'll see. So it was you who stabbed Asman with this? Yeah, far easier than dissection, I assure you. No precision required. What a welcome change. The victim died instantly from a snapped neck. All I did was carry out the instructions I'd been given. As unflinchingly as ever, no doubt. I imagine you didn't bat an eyelid when you drove the weapon into his body. There was no need to bat my eyelids. And what else did you do to twist the facts? Remind the court, why don't you? If you wish. Alright, I'm going to keep pressing, but we're going to go back to that, obviously. The entire team in perverting the course of justice? My team consists of the very best investigators there are. I demand loyalty from all members. We operate on a code of chivalry of sorts. You aid and abet a murderer, commit perjury, and dare to talk of chivalry? It was a matter of priorities. What? Nothing was more important than protecting the secrets of the professor. My team did what was necessary without losing sight of the primary goal. I consider their conduct exemplary. Ugh. Don't concede the point, Mr. Naruhodo. You mustn't let her win. I need a lawyer. I'll take that silence as a tacit acceptance. Now, can we move on? Bum 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 bum. If he died from the fall, Harebrain wouldn't be the only suspect. Drebber, who made the machine, would be questioned about the incident as well. She simply made sure Harebrain would be the only one to be suspected in accordance to Drebber's demands. That's not true. If he died from the fall in the, like, the teleportation aspect of it, like, that was the whole first day of the case, was just to prove that the science worked, because if it worked, Harebrain is the reason he died. So, if she had just switched the bodies without stabbing it,
Hey, ass butt.
if she had switched the bodies without stabbing, then Harebrain still would have been the cause of death for the body into the tower. At least that's how I'm seeing it. That's how I'm understanding it. I could be understanding it completely wrong because I'm not smart, but we'll see. Anyway, Diva, thank you so much for dropping in. How are you doing tonight? How has your week been? How was your weekend? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. How are you doing? And again, thank you for the ass butt. Love a good Castiel quote. Again, I love how some of my viewers have like signature quotes that they love to play when they come in, and yours is definitely Castiel. So, how much more of the show you've seen too? I'm curious how far you've gotten now. And you're good. How am I? I'm all right. It's been a rough week, and it's only a Tuesday, so that's not great. But I'm excited to play a new Ocarina of Time randomizer that I saw just come out. Either tomorrow or Thursday. We're going to find a time for it, but I'm going to play it, and it's going to be fun, because I love it. Been there? Oh man, I know. Sometimes you just live for the weekends. Which for me is pretty much every week, so it's unfortunate. But at what cost? Faith in Scotland Yard is going to suffer a terrible blow as a result of this. And your precious secret is out now anyway. Yeah, as you say. And I take full responsibility. Let me down, Dark Side. Surely there was some other way you could have protected the secret. No, definitely wasn't. I've done my utmost, believe me. In many ways, I respect your determination. Ooh, I nearly froze under that cold stare as she said that. I do believe she was being genuine, though, Mr. Naruhodo. So that's her story. She's admitted to everything and revealed her full involvement in the crime. I do wonder if there could really be much more to it. Well, I don't know, but I just have a feeling. Is it more than a feeling? More than a feeling? Sorry. I have to say that every time someone says they have a feeling. It's a bad habit of mine, but I'm okay with it. Season 11, Episode 5. Cool, cool. Making your way. You got through 9 and 10. I really need to turn that down. But, Norman, thank you so much for the raid, sir. Welcome in, everyone. Hey, Bryce, how you doing? How are you guys doing? I don't know if Maro's still here to give shoutouts, so I'm going to shout you out myself. Well, no, it's SO Norman. There we go. What, Norman? Why is that not automatically populating? There we go. Anyway, but yes, Diva, you're making great progress. I hope you're enjoying it so far. You're gonna have to give me a quick synopsis on where you are exactly so I can remember. But, what you did not change their clothes? No, I'm playing this one vanilla. Absolutely. I'm sorry if that disappoints. I didn't know there was actually an option to change clothes, but then again, I haven't delved too much into like the side stuff. I've kind of just been focusing on the main game and all that, you know? But welcome on in. Thank you for the raid. Thank you again. You were playing Resident Evil 6. What were you doing playing Resident Evil 6? That is not one of the good ones, but if you were playing with someone, I get it. I understand. Resident Evil 6 is hard to enjoy by yourself, but if you play co-op with someone, it's great to just suffer through with a friend, in my opinion. But yeah. RE6 is much better than 4 and 5 for me? Really? Why is that, Norman? I would love to hear your opinion. They more suit the last 3 cases? Oh, you mean like the alternate outfits? I don't want to ruin the outfits now. I just... You know, this is how it's supposed to be, you know? This is how the developers intended. I just kind of want to go through it with them. And then afterwards, maybe mess around with the outfits. You're playing a game right now, Bryce? Nice. Nice. What game you playing, buddy? I hope whatever game you're playing is a fun one. Oh, man. No, I can't take your call right now, Jay. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Whew. You hate co-ops. Really? I can understand that. Like, to a degree. Like, if it forces you to do co-op stuff, then yeah, it's not quite as good as it could be. Like, Dead Space 3... Like, Dead Space 2 was phenomenal, in my opinion. But Dead Space 3 had potential if they hadn't had a bunch of co-op stuff in it, you know? I mean, I love the co-op. It's fun to shoot monsters with friends. Just by default, for me, anyway, it's fun to shoot monsters with friends. But, yeah, being forced to do co-op is never a good thing. Because there's plots, some puzzles, and Return of Horror. 4 and 5 just regular shooters. Got you. So you feel like 6 kind of went back to puzzles and horror. I don't know if I'd say the plot was that great, because it felt really... It felt like a one-trick pony. I mean, I kind of liked how everything kind of ties up in the end, but, like, there was no build-up on it from previous iterations. Like, Resident Evil 1 kind of established characters. Resident Evil 2 kind of established Raccoon City. 3 kind of elaborated on that. 4, I agree. The plot in 4 was just terrible. People, like, rave about it. I was like, the only really thing I liked about it was the combat sometimes, but it wasn't much of a Resident Evil game, in my opinion. Like, they mentioned Umbrella maybe twice. You're playing Dragon Age Origins? Very cool, Bryce. Is this your first time? And you're close to the end? Well, that's a huge game, especially with the DLC. So if you've gone through all the DLC already, props to you, dude. I just beat a Broodmother? Okay, I think you might be close to the end. It's been a while since I played Origins, but I just remember going for a certain ending because I was like, it hit all the good points for me. I was just like, yes, yes, and yes, let's do it. I'm not sure if it was good for the story overall, but I'm going to let you have your own ending, obviously. 4 and 5 just regular shooters without even exploration. It's true, they were very linear, but I don't think 6 had deviated from that much. It was kind of just the same thing. I'm glad that Ari is no more action. It has a little action. I mean, 7 was more horror. 8 had a bunch of action, but it was still enjoyable action. Like, it wasn't like 4 or 5 where it was like non-stop adrenaline thrills pumping, gah, bah, you know, like an action movie. I get that. 8 and 7 were much more toned down to match the feel of the horror. That's what I'm thinking. You probably felt the same way, maybe. All 4 campaigns are different? A bit. I mean, they kind of feel the same once you get into like the later stages, but I wish they had used 6 to set up more of the next chapter of Resident Evil. Like 5 kind of closed the book on the Wesker chapter, and they didn't use 6 to like open a new one. It was pretty much just a one and done kind of thing, which, you know, nothing wrong with that, but I was just hoping for more. So maybe I'm just disappointed with 6 because of me, but yeah, I do agree with you. 4 and 5 weren't that great either. Amara is a teenager. The last episode I saw was the bed and breakfast that was haunted. The boys are running into a lot of soulless people that Amara is eating their souls. Okay. I think I remember Amara. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to have to look something up on that one, but I think I know where you're at. And, oh, Amara. That's the sister. That's the sister. Okay, gotcha. I know exactly where you're at. Now I'm fighting werewolves? Good on you, Bryce. You kill those werewolves. Make sure to use lots of silver and potions, and don't let them bite you too much, otherwise you might lose a hand or leg. I missed that series. Do you have a favorite character, Bryce? Like a favorite companion? Like, not just the one that's your favorite because she's the most attractive. Like, obviously, you know everyone loves Morrigan. But who's your favorite personality-wise? That's what I'm curious about. Bad thing that there is no challenge in the game. It is too easy. For 6 or 4 or 5, actually all 3 of those, not much challenge. Yeah, even if you play on like professional or hardcore, it's really easy to get through, like, just nonchalantly. In 6, it's true. It's very true. I don't even think 6 has. Does 6 have like a difficulty level? It does. I do remember now. It's like amateur, veteran, professional. Okay, I do remember that now. Yeah. No, that was 5, I think. I don't know. No, that was 6. That was 6. I'm trying to remember title screens, and 6 is the one where it's blue with the hexagons. That was 6. Okay. Anyway, Mochi, thank you so much for the Zoidberg. I really appreciate it. It's always good to have his Zoidberg, a Zoidberg come through. Your favorite companion's your dog? You know what? That's fair. I mean, I don't recall there being a dog in that game, but I was going to say Alistair was mine because he was sarcastic as hell, and I loved that shit. 4 and 5 were hard as I played on gamepad. Oh. Gamepad is in like a controller? On GameCube and PS3. Okay. Yeah, they could be. Especially if you use your... For third-person shooters, I find controllers are okay. It's first-person shooters where I have to use my mouse and keyboard. I'm not used to first-persons on controllers. I can't do that. 6 have 5 default difficulties? Okay. I was remembering 6. I knew it had a couple different ones. Him too? You like Alistair? That's good. They had a lot of good companions in that game. I just wish that I got to see more of them as you kept going, but I'm not going to spoil anything for you in case you haven't played 2 or 3 yet. So those are worth playing, though. 2's alright, 3 is better. But 1 is still my favorite. Looking forward to 4, though. My favorite companion is my BF. Aww, Mochi, that's so cute. Hold on. In the game of life. That's so cute, I could crap a rainbow. But I'm happy for you, Mochi. I'm glad that you guys are still getting on well. Professional difficulty feels like casual. In 6? Is it because you have like all the upgrades already? Because I know when I play 6, if I have to play 6, I usually put on my Infinite Magnum just because that's the most fun. Like, I just love to shoot everything all the time. One shot, bam. How do you crap a rainbow? It involves a lot of starburst and a ton of water. And the water doesn't go in the way you'd think it would. It goes in the other way. So, yeah, it gets kind of messy. I don't recommend it. Regardless of upgrades, it's still easy? Okay. Gross. I figured that would catch someone off guard. But yeah, that's true. Even with the first time through, I played it on normal, but I probably should have done a harder difficulty because it was still pretty easy. Eat a shit ton of Skittles. No, do not do that. I did that when I was like 6 for my birthday. There was this giant bowl of Skittles at my birthday party, and I just handfuls of them non-stop. Woke up in the middle of the night, throwing up down the hallway all the way to the bathroom. I still hate Skittles. Let's say that. I use mostly sniper rifle when I have ammo for it, not other guns. That, in the right weak spot, yeah, that would do it. I can see why it was so easy for you. As it is my fave weapon in all the games. I don't blame you. Super powerful gun, shoot him in the right spot, instant death. Who doesn't love that? I'm with you, Norman. So that's how you puke rainbows? Yes. Puke the rainbow, taste the rainbow. Not in that order, though, because it doesn't taste good. Switch it up. Taste the rainbow, puke the rainbow. That one's a little more understandable. But, I'm remembering. It's not great. Was it rainbow, though? It was dark in the middle of the night, and I was just running for the bathroom. I'm assuming it was rainbow. You'd have to ask my parents. I don't talk to them, though, so I don't know. It's a mystery. Unless I decide to, like, replicate that experiment, which I'm never going to do, so. But this means every bullet is a death. Yeah, no, I get that. It's a nice feeling. Just every time you shoot a bad guy. Right spot, instant death. The only bad in online games is sniper players do not contribute in maps goals. Yeah, that's true. Like, capture the point or something. Yeah, I get that. I was playing Overwatch with a friend on Saturday, and it was only for like an hour or two, but it's always funny to see this people that really want to be snipers, sniping, but like, they're not going to the point or capturing the thing or doing any of that. So yeah, like in Overwatch. Exactly, Norman. Exactly. Believe me, been there. It is frustrating to see sometimes, especially if your 2 DPS decide to pick Hanzo and Widow. Oh my god. Shoot me now. I'm glad you got a kick out of that, Diva.
Ass butt.
That's me. I'm Assbutt. Hey, Castiel, how you doing? Lively Kiwi, welcome on in. Welcome back, dude. How you doing? Thank you for stopping by the other night. I'm sorry you had to go so quickly, but it's good to see you again. How are you doing? How is your week going so far, buddy? I have not clicked this in a long time. Sorry, I've just been chatting with you guys. I apologize. Let me do a list a little bit. I don't know. Well, I don't know, but I just have a feeling. Do you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wow, that's not her voice. The truth is, I find it strange too. How those two are reacting to this in completely opposite ways, I mean. Yes, exactly. Opposite ways. For some reason, I feel sure they're still trying to hide something. I agree that they're trying to hide shit. I pushed her on this. I didn't get a lot from it, though, but I could probably go back and push this again, see what the other thing was, and move on from there. Well, kind of had to go to the hospital. Oh my god, why'd you have to go to the I'm sorry if you told me this the other day, but why did you have to go to the hospital? I don't want to think about me not getting along with my boyfriend, especially with what I did last night. Okay. That sounds like something to maybe... Is it like PG-13 stuff? Like we probably shouldn't talk about it? Because if so, yeah, you can tell me later. That's fine. For now, let's worry about Kiwi. I'm okay, just a regular heartbeat and stuff. So does an irregular heartbeat, like, hurt? Like, does it start to hurt in your chest when you have an irregular heartbeat? And you were just like, oh shit, I should go to the hospital and get checked now? Or do you just feel your heart beating at like a really random pace? I'm not sure if the symptoms for a regular heartbeat involve pain, but... Oh, you told your parents. Wow. Yeah, that I can't imagine that went well. Did you send me a message? No, you did not. Okay. Definitely send me just a quick summary. Just tell me what happened. I am curious. You're talking to a tree. Bryce. Good for you, man. You don't discriminate when it comes to who you hang out with, and I appreciate that. Whether it's man, woman, dog, cat, tree, you talk to them. If the tree's talking back, I'm a little concerned, but you know what? It's, oh, what's the name of the land in Dragon Age Origins again? Fan something? I want to say Fantasia, but that's wrong. Fandiel? Fandaniel? No, that's a bad guy in Final Fantasy XIV. Tristram? I don't remember. Still, talking trees in your world, that's okay. I'm going to push this again, see if I can't get the other item. You mean what you did with this, correct? Why is it not letting me skip? Is it because I didn't pick the other thing yet? Probably. Well, if my heart goes extreme, like going up a lot to almost a heart attack, then almost stops, then it's mostly hard to breathe. Oh, okay. So an irregular heartbeat would be kind of like a precursor to a potential heart attack. So you might have suffered a few symptoms similar to it. But, yeah, going up a lot and being hard to breathe. I imagine that, yeah, that sounds like... I'm just concerned because I never imagined I'd be able to feel it coming. But if those are two things to look out for, I'm definitely going to keep that in mind. It was mild. I think they were caught off guard, and also Grace was there. Oh, I'm glad that she went with you to kind of just be present and help you out. That's really nice of her. I was worried she was still not talking to you. I leaned down over the birdcage and opened it up. Why would you have to open it? Can't you just reach in? Then I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged into the man's chest. After that, it was simply a matter of recording the stab wound as the cause of death on the autopsy report. The real cause of death being the fall, of course. I'm sure there's something here in this testimony. You know, if you think it would be appropriate, I'm sure you could ask Dr. Scythe to change the supplementary testimony. God, I hate the changing part. Where's X-Gamer? X-Gamer, I need you to give me a hint. No, we have been talking. She's just terrible at replying. Okay. Well, that's good, at least. And Kiwi, I'm just glad that you're... I'm hoping that you talking to us here means you're doing better, sir. So... And Bryce, let me know how the tree's doing. Oh, man. The real cause of death. I believe that may be significant, so could you change your supplementary statement to explain that instead? Very well. Nah, I'm sure you have this. I don't think I do, but thank you. The actual cause of the death was the neck trauma Asmund suffers from the 30-foot fall. Press! You're quite sure of that? It was as a result of a broken neck? Yeah, as a professional, that was more than apparent. You'd never know just by looking at the photograph of the victim, though, would you? No, that's very true. Obviously not. Which is precisely why coroners are needed to determine the actual facts. Yes, assuming they can be trusted. Wow, she was unfazed by that. I love her. There's no point calling her assessment into question without evidence. Let's get back to the testimony. Very well. No, I didn't mean to... Ah, crap. Alright, we're going to listen to this real quick. Skipping text because I read it. Yes. Yeah, whatever. Yes, we can move on. Back to the point I actually wanted to press. Alright. I'm sure you have this. I don't know if I do. To look out for can be a very low heartbeat or a very high when you don't do anything, or like starting to cold sweat and getting a bit hard to breathe, like small pain in lungs. Good to know. This is information that everyone can use, just in case. I'm well, it happens sometimes, so I have to go into the hospital and get put on a machine for a while just to make sure my heart doesn't stop. Dude, you live your life... Like... That sounds rough, and I'm sorry. Like... To feels like you're kind of like on the edge a lot at that point, if you have to watch yourself and then go... Whew. You get all my respect, buddy. That's tough. But I know what you do in your free time, and I know how successful you are in your work, so at least you seem to be living well in comparison to the stuff you have to do to keep going, you know? So, mad props to Kiwi, absolutely. It's because of how I lived in Vietnam. Man, you've just been all over the place, fuck. What happened, well, if you don't mind sharing, what happened there? The actual cause of death was neck trauma. Asmund suffered from a... Alright, I'm gonna save, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get this wrong. X-Gamer has more faith in me than I do in myself. And then we're gonna look... Would I just show this? Because if this is... fuck it, let's try it. Nope, it's wrong. Actually, it's because I want to see you make more mistakes than anything else. Wow, X-Gamer. Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Oh, you're born from Vietnam. Okay. I thought you... Like, from what I recall, you live in, like, the Northern Europe area. But you're from Vietnam. That's still really cool. I can DM because I'm not overly open about it. That's up to you, buddy. If you want to share with me, you're more than welcome to. If you want to keep it to yourself, that's totally understandable. I'm always around to listen to you guys if you need someone to talk to. He sounds serious. I have to... Oh, well, whoops. That was me getting it wrong. Okay, so it wasn't the cage. Metal screwdriver that was found poking through the grill in the base of what remains of the kinesis machine. Has a very distinctive handle. I guess she could have planted that up there when she was adjusting everything, so it makes sense. Does it? Fuck it, let's try it. No, that's not it either. I'm born from Vietnam but moved to Europe. That's cool. That's cool. I was born here, and I have moved here, so not very far, unfortunately, even though I would like to travel a bit. Nope, I want to go here. One of these things have got to be like, it's wrong. Wait, how do I examine this again? Dun 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 dun. Wait, no, I did this, right? I did this. I did that, and I did the screwdriver. Am I doing something wrong? You can look DM later. All right, all right. I will check my stuff, and I'll probably be able to reply tomorrow because I'm probably gonna go for another 2.5 hours, and then I gotta go to bed and wake up for work. But don't worry, I read my messages, so I'll definitely get back to you. Just give me some time. That's all. That's all I ask. Screw it. Nope. Wait, what was the statement again? I'm like, just... The actual cause of death was the neck trauma has been suffered. I don't think that's true, though. I don't. If you really need a clue, then, here's one. The sticking point of this testimony would be the way she used the screwdriver. To stab it into his chest, right? Do I need to switch the testimony back up? I think I need to switch it back, don't I? Hey, Mochi, X-Gamer, Kiwi, and Bryce. It's okay, thank you for the lurk, Mara. I appreciate it. But it's like 12:40 over there. What are you doing up? You gotta be sleepy. I'm gonna switch it back. Unless X-Gamer's gonna tell me I'm wrong again. I know tomorrow's your day off. I'm just saying, you must be sleepy by now. Leaned over and opened it up. Both hands. Change it. Oh, bet I'm sleepy. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm doing alright, just struggling to solve a murder. Okay, come on. Come on, you crazy hot woman. No! I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay in the toppled cage and plunged the screwdriver into the chest. Wait, what was weird about that? So it was you who stabbed Asmund with this. Yes, far easier than dissection. No precision required. Wait, no precision required. Pierce the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Do I present her own autopsy report to her? That seems redundant, though. Okay, I'm gonna try her own autopsy report. That just seems odd, though. Oh yeah, it's day for Kiwi 2. It's the morning. It's the morning for Kiwi, yeah. Very early morning. Because if Morrow is Eastern time, Kiwi, and it's 12:40 there, Kiwi would be at least 7 hours later. At least. I think it's probably more along 8 or 9, but... A very, very rough week. Yeah, Mochi has been having a rough week, so she needs all the support. There you go. Mochi, the Komochi command. Don't forget that. I forgot we had those commands for a second. What was I doing again? Oh, her own autopsy report, right, because it said it was straight to the heart, but she said no precision? I don't fucking know. That was redundant. It's soon, 7 a.m. Okay. I was close. Look at that. I guessed it right, guys. Well, not on this game. In Kiwi's time. I guessed Kiwi's time right. Am I just doing this wrong? I mean, obviously I'm doing this wrong. Clearly. The game is telling me, yeah, you wrong, you fucked up. But then what the fuck am I missing? I don't know what I'm doing. Probably not anytime soon, but eventually, hopefully. Oh, the things get better? Yeah, it's been kind of rough for you. I feel like this is a stretch again. Is this a stretch? Is that why I'm not getting it? Or am I just dumb? I am dumb, to be fair. Yeah, I'm dumb. Let's switch it back up. Ever change it. You guys are my new family. Aw, Mochi, thank you. I've known some of these people for over 2 years now. They're crazy, but they're good peoples. Also, I might sneeze in a second. Oh, it's sitting there. It's sitting there, like, loaded and ready to go. Whew. Yeah, the trauma. Oh, was that it? Just because it doesn't look like his fucking neck is broken? Because it could totally... It's a vertebrae. You can't really tell from the... Okay, you know what? No, it's okay. I appreciate the hint. I get what the game was trying for, but like this picture is like inconclusive, honestly, because he could have suffered vertebrae damage in this picture, but it's not like you can tell because like he still has that puffed collar all around his neck, so you can't see any kind of dislodgings or anything. I don't know. Maybe that's the point they're trying to make, though. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm just too dumb. Maybe I'm just too dumb. I'm too dumb. Let's go with too dumb. This is for you, Kiwi. Oh. I forgot to reload. Did I get that wrong? Yeah, feel free to share, X-Gamer. I think I've reached my limit on this one. Okay, Dad, why are you texting me? That's weird. I should probably cancel that, too. Anyway, Mochi wants a dad joke. So, hold on, let me pull that up. Okay. Alright, I got one for you. I didn't even have to search it. This is great. Alright, I told my daughter that I saw a deer on the way to work this morning. She asked me, how did you know it was on its way to work? How did you know it was on its way to work? Oh, that is amusing, and I love it. I am here for that. Oh, man. Didn't I? Oh, that's so obscure. But I get it. It makes sense. I have 44k almost at hot sauce. Oh my god. I don't want to do the bomb. Then again, that's why I made it expensive. So I guess it's fine. You can redeem it. It's just, don't expect me to say anything coherent for at least 30 minutes afterwards, because I will not be within the right headspace. Oh, man. That reminds me I need to buy some. Da bomb? You don't need to buy the bomb. You don't have to. It's just self-inflicted torture. I swear. Anyway. Wait, why do I only have 2? Oh. I forgot. Because I already guessed. Oh, I saved it at 2? I'm brilliant. I'm a genius. Cool. Photograph of the victim. Do I need to I can't examine it. I just present it? I thought I did that! I could've I'm not... You know what? I'm not gonna argue with the game. The game is clearly right. I must not have done it if it's saying that I didn't. And I learned that after thinking that I'd found the light arrows so long ago in that randomizer on Friday. And they were right there, in front of my face, the whole fucking time. Just like the magic. Oh my god. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm just gonna go ahead and take the L. I am the L. I'm literally so exhausted from the stress of last night. Get some sleep. I mean, if you need to go rest, go rest. You presented it in regard to the vertebrae? Is that it? So I definitely used it, I just didn't use it on the right one. I'm not a big fan of when the game does that, but I get where they were going with it, so I'm gonna let it slide. Well, I've used a bomb every now and then at home because my friend likes to buy hot sauces. So you buy Da Bomb just to mess with him because Da Bomb doesn't have any like redeeming qualities. Like it is just straight up hot for hot's sake, and that is just terrible. Like there are some super hot sauces out there that are just as hot, but have like a barbecue flavor or a smoky taste or like a chili flavor. Like there are some good ones out there, but Da Bomb is not one of them. Da Bomb is just if you're a masochist. Anyway, I've got a nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to an extremely uncomfortable truth. What on earth is the matter, Counsel? Have you lost your tongue? I apologize, my lord. Dr. Scythe, in that last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There's an obvious inconsistency between your description in this photograph, which shows the victim in the birdcage following the events that led to his death.
Objection!
The court has already examined that photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn from it.
Objection!
Yeah, and every time you say that, Van Zeeks, I go ahead and show you something new. How about you just sit down, shut up, let me do my job? Sorry, I didn't mean to go off tangent. I didn't mean to rant like that, but Van Zeeks keeps arguing like, we already know everything about that. And it's like, if you did, I wouldn't be proceeding in the game. So, lol, it's true. Da Bomb doesn't have any taste other than just being hot. It's absolutely true. This is coming from someone who's done it several times now for you guys. But it's not like I haven't had hot sauce. Like, I'm not good with spicy. Like, spicy is not my thing. But there are hot sauces out there that have flavor. Not great flavor, because I don't like my mouth burning, but I get it. Da Bomb, yeah. Da Bomb, not one of them. But hey, if you want to screw with your roommate that likes, or your friend that really likes hot sauces, that's the way to do it. Absolutely. You can trick him. Put it in a bottle that's not Da Bomb. So then it's like, he'll be expecting something good and just gets Da Bomb. I slept till like 11, tidied up, and did laundry. Now I'm almost asleep. And you're 7 hours behind. So it's like 3 o'clock your time. So you've only been awake for like 5 hours. Damn. Well, go get some more sleep. Emotional situations can be very taxing on physical energy. So if you have to go to sleep and take a nap or something, please do so. Especially considering, you're going through a tough time. So, get sleep when you can, and then, just keep working through it. Like, just rest is what I'm trying to say. Yes, we have already considered it. That's true. But we now know the facts to be different. What do you mean? I believe we should let the defense explain. Where in this photograph would we see the alleged inconsistency with the witness's statement? It's here. It's right here, I think. Look closely at the bloodstain on the victim's chest. It clearly extends in a downwards direction towards the man's feet. And why is that significant, Counsel? If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected. Ah! Of course, no, that's not what happened. Exactly, my lord. Dr. Scythe made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point at which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after the grand deception was set in motion, when the birdcage had fallen below the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on its side after the 30-foot drop. And if the victim had really been stabbed whilst inside the birdcage in that position, the blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions. For it to have formed the longitudinal appearance we see in the picture is inconceivable. I don't know. I'm not good at female voices, that's for sure. Yeah, well, if you know, you know, you know, you know. You know, you know. If I use hot sauce on my roommate food, she would throw me out. Oh, I forgot, yeah. I meant your friend. I forgot that the roommate's someone different. Did you throw me out of my own house? I believe that. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Asman, he was standing up. In short, Dr. Scythe, your latest testimony was a total fabrication. I'm not going to try to do that scream. I'm not good at the girl voices. What can I say? I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified that contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. What? What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Scythe, you claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out-and-out lie. Because the question of what the blood stain really tells us has only one possible answer. If that is the case, what is it, man? Counsel, you clearly struck upon a revelation. Now tell the court what it is. Which part of Dr. Scythe's story is shown to be a lie by the contradiction in her testimony? Well, I have some friends that travel a lot and buy random hot sauce for me to try. Makes a good souvenir, honestly. I mean, if you travel to a different country and you have friends that enjoy a good hot sauce, why not bring, you know, home a local variety, you know? Anyway. Well, how she was coerced. Well, the autopsy report we already know is a lie. So that's fine. Stabbing of the victim. We established that he wasn't laying down, he was standing. How she was coerced. Do we know that? I don't think we know that, do we? As far as we know, it was a note in the waxwork statue. Wait, what was the history? So there are 3 claims. Coerced into helping Mr. Drebber. Made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report. That last one's true, I suppose. She could have been coerced. I guess all we really know that she lied about was how she stabbed the guy, so... let's do that, I guess. Let me save it real quick, though. The answer is very simple if you consider the sequence of events. If, when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downwards, as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage. Yes, it would, which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord. Oh. So, Asman was plotting something with them?
Objection!
That's impossible. The man was dead, remember? No, that is the misapprehension. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. But Mr. Asman didn't die in the fall. He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came round, he got to his feet to climb out of the cage. Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at that point in time, it changes everything. Oh. Ah. He's easy enough to do. I can do that. Problem is that they basically can eat any chili without a problem, so I sometimes just die on my floor. So they can handle the spice better than you can. That's got to be tough to find a good hot sauce to get them to, you know, feel it at that point. But I think you'll be able to find it someday. I'm just sorry that you have to die as they just kind of like, oh, that's pretty good. Mr. Odie Asmund's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor Albert Harebrain, nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Enoch Drebber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Yeah, not doing a girl's voice. Order! Order! Could this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, was it? You killed him. You hoped that by admitting to being an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end, before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up! You're so desperate now, what? No. You're so... what? No, the water is very fucking wet. Sorry. The water... You're so desperate. All this up, as if I would do something like that. There we go. I assure you, the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruhodo has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Ha! Logic? Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it. What? What do you mean? I just thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. Ah, that's British again. Fuck. I'm losing the frickin' accent. Crap. No more talking trees in the game I'm playing? Aw, I'm sorry, Bryce. It's okay, you'll find another one. Talking trees are a dime a dozen, you know. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman? Asman was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder. But there is no known connection to Dr. Scythe there. I'm rather relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched. True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints at why the coroner... Wow, I suck at this. Coroner might have done this. Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report. Whoops. I keep like bleeding into the British. It's difficult. Maybe it's just late. It's only 10 o'clock though. God damn. But murdering someone for no reason is a very different story. No, when you questioned what possible reason you could have for wanting to kill Mr. Asman, something did come to mind. What? What was it, Counsel? Enlighten the court at once. Yes, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asman. I'm pretty sure it's the Iron Mask. Because it was strange that Drebber had it. But why would he want it? Why would he kill why would she kill Mr. Asman for it, though? I'm going to say the Iron Mask, but I'm going to save real quick, because I am not sure. None of this I am confident about at all. I am pretty much grasping at straws, I think. It's the Iron Mask. You've lost me. Whoops. Huh? Oh, I'm wrong. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Naher, but why the Iron Mask? Well, of all the things I saw yesterday, it left the greatest impression, so... Clearly you have no idea what you're talking about. I think I must have said the wrong thing. Well, good thing that doesn't count as a try, I suppose. Forgive the interruption, Dr. Scythe, but what my colleague meant to say was scalpels. Perhaps that makes a little more sense to you. Ah, of course. Did you say scalpels? Yeah, I didn't get that at all, but Good job, Susato. It would appear that word has struck a chord, Doctor. You, come on out, is it? It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. Oh. Oh, it took a second. Right. I forgot we even went to her fucking lab. I really shouldn't put weeks in between doing this. Goddamn. Look at this big, thick book here. Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh. What is it? It's clear that the team purchased various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but... Well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. "500 scalpels a month?" At first, I wondered what on earth you could be using that many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them, disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Asmon's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic investigation team's account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. Ugh. 10 years ago, when Mr. Asmon was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Drebber, he may well have stumbled upon information as he was researching this story. Information relating to Dr. Syed's darkest secret that he would use to rack money from her for the next decade. Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean... I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asmon in the heart with all your might, to silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever. So, that felt forced. Like, that... Like, I get it, they kind of slipped it in there in the last one. Just kind of like, why? She might have a motive, but like... She'd been paying for 10 years. I don't know. It seems... It seems odd that they just kind of put that right at the end there, but eh. Anyway, Devata's Velvet. You'll never understand, none of you. What we've had to keep covered up all these long years. Da-na-na. As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Side will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done, and tell the court the truth about what happened. 10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for, to sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years. Super high voltage, instantaneous kinesis. I mean, really. It's the addle-brained mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypotheses, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Drebber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it. You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim? Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Revenge for the future that Mr. Asmund's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at Asmund, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see. The condemned convict that you saw rising from the grave in Lowgate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he may have had. So your plan required that you abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Scythe to be precise. It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Asmund turned up... Oh, I pushed that too fast. Asmund turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. About the coroner who'd handled that bogus autopsy being appointed head of a new forensic team. When I learnt that news, my cognitive processes started to devise the plan. What a horrid tale. He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wiles against him for revenge, and have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I'd had to suffer. God, why does that have to keep flashing the white? It's blinding me. Your actions against those who'd ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. But you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this. Your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. I... Why is there a wagon in the middle of this? Oh, that was the waxwork statue. Right. It was in the middle of the courtroom. I forgot. Lord Van Zeeks, what of Dr. Scythe? An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted, and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber. A most regrettable situation indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is a hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain.
Oh, yes?
It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt.
This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. me, this dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered and, above all, a fool.
Professor,
I've spent my life thinking of nothing but my research. Misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I.
no, Professor, that's not true.
What?
Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Trevor. What happened was his doing, and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way. Lord Van Zieks. And the derision with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams. That's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices.
Oh. Thank you, Barrick.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. It is this court's expectation that you will find the defendant not guilty of the charge of which he stands accused. I presume there are no objections. None from me, my lord.
Certainly not.
This trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision. It's not proven methodically. I have no misgivings whatsoever.
What's that? He's done, is he? Tell her.
I don't know what's become of the yard these days. I don't recognize the place. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant not guilty. About fucking time, dude. This has lasted for like 3 streams. Jesus Christ. No, 4 streams. I think it's been 4 streams. I've been stuck on this for a month. Oh, man. I still got 2 more chapters to go, so it's going to be a while. Court is adjourned. I don't recognize the place. Then you should get a map. He's old. He's going to forget the map anyway. It's over. That was some trial. October, 4:33 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Professor, what a splendid outcome, isn't it? Oh, it is, it is. Congratulations, Professor Harebrain.
Huh. Mr. Naruhodo, Miss Susato, I am truly beside myself with gratitude. How can I ever thank you enough?
I'm just glad it's all been cleared up, that you realize you were just caught up in a bad situation.
Ah! Right now, you know, if I had that research grant money, I'd give the whole lot to you, every penny.
Well, it's very kind, but I'm just a student, so...
We don't need any financial reward. Your acquittal is more than enough. Oh dear. Oh, what can I do? Aha! How about this, as a memento? The paper about my hypothesis is inside.
Well, just as a memento then. Thank you.
I've been wondering, Professor. What are you going to do now? Oh my. Yes, what am I going to do? My hypothesis and my great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. I must explore the great exhibition whilst I'm here too, and see if new inspiration hits me. Oh yes, that's a wonderful idea.
I can't allow that. I hate it when they don't put the name of the person, so I don't know what... Anyway. Of course. Figured it might be him. Lord Van Zieks, what are you doing in here?
Barrick!
I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert.
Well, if I'm honest, it It was terrifying. You were like a great demon behind your bench there, snarling down on your prey. You're one of the few true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the prosecution or the defense. Sorry? Or the defense? Did I just hear that right? I always knew that you had my best interest at heart. Don't worry. Ah, how about you show me around while I'm here in town? It's been a long time since we left university. We have a lot to catch up on. Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you. What? From there, you'll cross the channel and make your way back to Germany. I've already purchased the tickets. But no! Hold on a minute, Barrick. What about the Great Exhibition? This is the chance of a lifetime for me. I want to look around. No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea. Oh, because of the Reaper. Yeah, that's why. Ugh. So sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, Barrick. Lord Van Zeeks? What's all this about? A necessary precaution. Yes, I think I understand. You too? Well, Iris told me that when you met Lord Van Zeeks at his office some days ago, he asked how Mr. Natsume was doing. Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised at the time, and thinking it was nice of him to ask. The point is, Mr. Natsume is still alive and well, even though it's been more than 6 months now since he stood trial with the Reaper as a prosecutor. Ah, you mean the Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas? Those in the Reaper's sights meet their ends days or sometimes months after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up to now. But of course we know that both Mr. Natsume and Jaina were completely innocent. True. And perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend. But Barrick! Like the mustached Nipponese, this man should leave the country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once. Right. Does your friend-shaped package get any say in it? Goodness, was this your intention all along then, Lord Van Zeeks? In court, where people think of him as the Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless, and yet sometimes I feel as though I don't understand him at all. It's time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being. Ah, yes, all right. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you so much for everything. Not at all, Professor. It was a pleasure getting to know you. Best wishes, Professor Harebrain. Well, once the dust is settled, you must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, goodbye for now. I hope he doesn't die. Now, my Nipponese friend. Oh, yes? I thought you'd gone too. We have matters to discuss. Can you spare me some time? You want to talk with me? I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get that sense of impending doom as he walked away this time. Alright, let's go chat with our buddy. The Enigma, Barrick Van Zeeks. What does he want to discuss, I wonder? Maybe my brutal murder in the middle of the courtroom. The answer awaits me in the courtroom, I suppose. Here it goes, then. Boop! He's gonna murder me. Watch, here it is. Here it comes. Straight knife to the face. Oh, God! 24th October, 4:58 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. And the waxwork's still there. So, are you satisfied? You saved a guileless scientist from a great injustice. Yes, I think so.
I'm relieved, at least, that the man's innocence could be proven. Anyway, I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Nipponese comes from. No, not at all! Well, at first I thought you just didn't like me. I imagined you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. And he's just like, yeah, that's about right, yeah. But now I think differently. You clearly know our ways, so I would guess that some specific incident led to your thorough dislike of my race. Will you tell me what happened, please? The Professor. I thought I'd never hear that name in this courtroom again, to be honest. He took your brother's life. Clint. My brother was Clint Van Zeeks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens, he was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be. He was involved in the establishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then too, to share knowledge and ideas. As part of one of those programs, 3 judicial students came to Britain from your homeland, the Empire of Japan. Oh, if it was 16 years ago, then one of them could have been my father. Of course, I remember Dr. Mikutoba well. I had no idea. I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clint introduced me to the 3 visiting Nipponese. So, you've actually met my father? He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept at their work and exacting in their standards. It was my first encounter with the Nipponese spirit, and it made a very great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects even, just an ever-growing list of victims. And in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zeeks. Truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway, so he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. He'd lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end. For me personally, though, it was a great loss. I found myself in a very dark place indeed. When I finally found out the killer's identity, the reason why no one had been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He'd been hiding in plain sight all the time. In plain sight? Are you aware of political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions. Which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, but our 2 nations could very well have ended up at war. What? A war? Between Britain and Japan? That's gonna happen in 40 years anyway? But that would mean, oh my, you mean to say the professor was...
When the trial reached its conclusion earlier, I thought to myself,
My voice isn't too far off, actually.
it's time.
Oh, I still have to click.
Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster. I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum. So see for yourselves now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
Why is he showing us?
That's the professor?
Yes, that's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind. That the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before, was Japanese.
Wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere. It's strangely familiar.
Father.
What? Father? Kazuma! My best friend, Kazuma Asogi. After a whole year, finally his memories returned. As he stood there before me, Ryunosuke. Hello again. My friend.
Kazuma-sama!
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. It's been a very long road. Thank you. Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
It was an honor.
I knew you wouldn't die that easily. Kazuma.
I owe you thanks, too, for taking good care of that in my absence.
Oh. Karuma, the great blade of the Asogi clan, passed down through the generations.
Boy, I really wish they animated everything more like
The
this.
sword was at my friend's side. The Japanese man's katana is his soul, and he couldn't be parted from it. But then, when the incident happened, it was Susato-san's wish that I inherit the sword, and I've kept it with me ever since, along with my memories of the friendship we shared. With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow.
I've made it. At last. Father.
Are you saying... Surely not. You mean, you knew all this time? I'm looking at it, but I still can't believe it. This mass murderer is Kazuma's father.
Ooh, Madame Tuspell's not going to be happy about that one.
Kazuma-sama.
Ryunosuke, we have much to talk about, but now is not the time.
Now seems like a great time, now that we both know you're still alive, you have your memories back, and the professor's your dad. And Lord Van Zeeks suddenly likes us. Now seems like a great time.
I'll be seeing you.
That's all Kazuma said. Before he turned and left us there, in the courtroom.
And where'd Zeeks go? You just watched that whole thing play out? There we go. Okay. So he's the living after-image of the man who took my brother's life, is he? Yes, Kazuma Osogi, my best friend. 3 months ago, when Lord Strongheart introduced us, I had an inkling there was something there. Some connection. Why did Lord Strongheart do that? First off, why'd Lord Strongheart do that? Second off, why'd Lord Strongheart say we can't interview Dr. Scythe when she was clearly guilty? So, something's up there too. Next, what the hell happened with this whole Baskervilles thing? Still wondering about what the fuck that is. And then, Shomes. Why'd he lie to us about Kazuma's death? Wow, that was a terrible pronunciation. Kazuma. Why did he lie to us about Kazuma's death? Super curious. Lots of questions. Sorry, Bryce, I didn't want to interrupt that whole thing going down, but go kill some more werewolves, buddy. I believe in you. If anyone's gonna make this world safe from werewolves, it's you, dude. Why did he make Cosmo Lord Van Zeek's apprentice? And when he was suffering amnesia, too. The man was apprehended, even executed. But his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I thank you for meeting with me as I asked. Sounds like he really wants the Asogi clan to die. That doesn't sound good, though. All good questions and much to think about as we receive for. There's 2 more trials, and they're going to take me another, 8 months to beat at this rate. 10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train. For me, it was the first time I'd ever seen him. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Poor Susato-san, all this is tied up with painful memories for her too. She's never talked about this with me before though. It took time to adjust to having father around, but just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me into his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London, and that the friend had left behind a son. A boy, 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had made a promise to his late father. So he was studying to become a defense lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. As I'm sure you've worked out, that young man's name was Kazuma Sogi. So you see, that's how he and I met. I like how Naruto, I love how they connect.
For a brief moment, my great
Hold on.
friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time, as if great wheels had been set in motion. I could almost hear them creaking into life. In some ways, it was the end of a chapter, but in many, it was the start of a new one.
2 more, actually, just to clarify. But I was gonna say, I like how they keep connecting everyone in this except for Naruhodo, because he's just the one that kind of got thrown into it randomly. So it's just really amusing. All right, let's save my progress. That was a great chapter, especially with its ending. I agree. I really wish they'd have animated cinematics like that more often, because then I can also give my voice a break. Oh, man. All right, we have about an hour to go, so I think we'll start this one. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're skipping. We're starting the last one. No, I'm kidding. We'll start this one and see how far we get. It was awesome. It was pretty cool. I would like to see why Kazuma's dad was so important and whatnot.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
All right. So, X-Gamer done for the night. Got work tomorrow, so enjoy dealing with the next part here. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out, X-Gamer. I really appreciate all the tips and whatnot and all the help. And I hope that you sleep well, and I hope that work goes well tomorrow, and I look forward to talking to you the next time you come around. So take care of yourself, bud. 8 days after that earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. With a dude and a dude. This guy kind of looks like Moss from IT Crowd. It's so funny. 1st November, 10:24 a.m., the Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Oh, great, he's coming home. Or he's coming back. About to be involved. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Susato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? That he was actually the mass murderer, the professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows, then. About Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. Ah, there she is. Oh, Father!
Hello, Susato. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. It's Mikotoba and the judge.
Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here.
Oh, no, not at all. It's my pleasure.
We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas.
It has?
I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man? And why do I feel as though I've seen him before?
I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me.
Oh, man, I'm getting voices mixed up now.
In that case, how about a little reminder, Seshiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes.
A firm tap? What? Here we go, then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, guilty! Oh, you're... The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Your Excellency. Hello, Judge Jigoku. How are you? It's been a long time. Good, you remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty. Ha 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 ha. What a dick. He just keeps saying guilty. Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Seishiro? What are you talking about, Yujin? Ha 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 ha. Of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man, who 16 years ago came to London with Kazuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. Sorry? Ministerial status. Yes, didn't you know? Seishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on the study tour. Guilty as charged! Oh god. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Okay. Something about his face looks odd. Ah, yes now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes, could you tell us any more about it? Yes, please, tell me. Well, I guess about... Sure, let's talk about your boat ride first. So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Yeah, I wasn't able to relax. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris? We did, yes, though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited. And I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Yujin. You were close friends with the Professor of Forensic Science at a major hospital. Oh, don't say Dr. Scythe. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Kazuma's father, I suppose. Alright, tell me about the father. The Professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Isogi. Genshin? You knew, I presume, Father? Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado.
To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland.
But what about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father?
No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts.
Oh, why?
As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said,
I've decided I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Forgot what voice I gave him. It was literally a game ago. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death?
I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him.
Okie dokie. Well, at least you tried. Something else came to light in that trial the other day, actually.
Oh, what?
Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma's since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zieks.
What? What? That's news to us.
So, Lord Strongheart's telegram neglected to mention that part then. Kazuma's back. As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father?
In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what happened, but to no avail.
Maybe I should make him sound like Joe. Can I do it, Joe?
We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail.
Close. It's not great.
But he's alive? And here, in London, you say? I never dared to even dream it. Why on earth did...
Sorry.
Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now.
Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia.
What? Amnesia?
When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were.
I see.
He only regained his memory 8 days ago.
This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently.
I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him?
That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really.
It was Yujin here, Genshin Isogi, and myself. We were the original 3.
The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you.
16 years ago. Things were tough for their generation.
Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady.
Yes, grandmother told me.
He went to do research in a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground.
Oh, good. Ugh, not more talk of graves.
Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons.
Not my cup of tea at all.
Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Caden, his name was? He was a good man.
Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested, for a series of the most gruesome murders.
I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years.
I was a witness at the secret hearing and I tried to speak in his defense, but
you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you?
Well, suffice to say that after that trial we were sent back to Japan.
There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly.
There's something up with this shit already. I mean, clearly Genshin wasn't guilty. Someone must have framed him or something. But even then, Dr. Scythe faked the autopsy, tried to save his life. He tried to crawl out of the grave, and then someone shot him. But who the hell? Lord Strongheart probably shot him. That's my money. That's what my money's on. I'm gonna go with that.
Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here. Suzato-san's gone off at a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo. I hope you'll keep an eye on Suzato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her. After all, I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Suzato was born. Yeah, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yeah, Susato-san hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind, so perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Ah, one other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Is he being all sentimental because he's about to go die? Because he talks to Lord Strongheart? Feels like that's the case. Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. Miss Susato. Now then, allow us to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir. That machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at a hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes. Yes, of course. Yeah, one of those two are gonna die. I gotta protect the other one, I think. Something's gonna happen. Something big. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It's really made Father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased then. But we were interrupted before. Professor Mikotoba was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street, then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yeah, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's meet with Strongheart, because that won't end poorly at all. A new location has been added. Anyway. Where were we going? Sholmes' suite? Yeah, he said later for Strongheart, so I'm going to go ahead and go home. Home, sweet. That's Kazuma's mask. 1st November, Sholmes' suite. Bless you. What was that? A man screaming in a most unflattering way. Do you think... Could it have been Mr. Sholmes? Oh my, I do hope not. These guys have already given me a headache. I don't do it anymore. Mon ami. Stop this disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red. I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes.
Oh god, it's Gina. Right, you two, you're coming with me now. Down to the clink. No, not in prison. It is dark and damp and I don't like it. Move the darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared. Wow, but you are always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and plan our next daring heist. I don't like this. I don't like it. Well, tough. We'll finish this down the yard. Now get moving. Slurm. Bye then, Jenny. Have fun. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective. I don't know how to do her voice. I still have no idea. It's only been 2 games. Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Runo! Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well, that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Oh, God. Who's going to break the news to her? Ah, yes, of course. Dr. John H. Wilson. So, Iris, all that remains now is that greatest of problems known to man. Oh, what the fuck is he doing? But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? No one say it. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Do I have a crumb of such-like on my face? Not so much on your face as on your head, I'd say. Come along then! Sorry, I got that wrong. Come along then, everyone! I brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea! Whatever's going on here today. In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. Alright, first question. Your fucking hair. Anyway. Your 2 visitors. Mr. Sholmes, who were the 2 gentlemen that were here before? Oh, just a pair of petty criminals, nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions. When the mood takes you? All manner of infractions? But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Erlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out. Oh my, you were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes? But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally. You should have asked Gregsy to come too! We would have had an arresting tea party! I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Aha, I have it! A bungler, that's the word. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads had been up to no good? Always starting trouble in my neighborhood? They got in one little fight and Sholmes got scared. He sent them to live with their auntie and uncle in the fucking prison. Shit, I forgot to read that. I wonder what the men did. The greatest problem. What's the greatest problem? What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before? Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes? How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere. Possibly. It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. Yeah, by that one scientist who was crazy and married his cousin. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops. Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment these apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man. Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes? Why, is it not obvious, my dear madam? The problem of rent. What? Did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tussbells only the other day? Pshaw, a large sum? One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you. Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it! Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least. And what was the answer? Why, there is a substantial clue before your very eyes. Don't tell me. Let me see. Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There is one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo. Thanks for the hints. I'll be tearing my hair out if this charade goes on much longer. Alright, tell us why you lied about Kazuma. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us, I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. That case aboard the SS Buria in January. Kazuma wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they'd carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse. Oh, how horrible! It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong. Oh! I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes? You left an unconscious man in Hong Kong. What did you think was going to happen? Alright. Time to present him with my armband. Mr. Sholmes, about this. Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, is this the first time you've shown me this particular trinket? Oh, I don't really remember, to be honest. If my saying that it's a collar for a breed of miniature canine with a particularly long neck would precipitate here we go again from your lips, we could be sure it was not the first time. Deduction, you see, my dear fellow. Deduction. Alright, I guess we're done here? No, I want to look at that mask. That was weird. What the fuck is this doing here? Wait, how do I look? Space, right. The mask Kazuma wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zieks as his apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up. Oh, I picked it up. We ought to give it back to him, I suppose. But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself. But isn't he your best friend? Nope, now it's you. Get used to the job. Love you, Susato. Stuff. Nothing really jumping out at me. I'm betting there's probably something that should be jumping out at me that I'm just not clicking because I'm dumb. Alright, whatever. Let's get out of here. Move to the... Wait. I guess we'll go here. There they are. 1st November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I forgot what voice I gave him. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeek's doing here? My, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. Oh, good. They spotted me. My apologies. I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here. Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord? I'm right here. Ugh, kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited. I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zeeks. I will attend at once. He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? I know, but I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Scythe. Oh, of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not, you've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me right now. Lord Van Zeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh, missing. What's become of Kazuma-sama now? Alright, let's talk to Strongheart. Cool. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? You'd be surprised. As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital Tokyo is 2 million. I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. It sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques, and cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something. You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. Well, sorry, bro. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? Obviously, nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial. We simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though. Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. Cool. That's not imposing at all. Did you kill aristocracy? I think you did. About Lord Van Zeeks just now. Ah, yes, that came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zeeks in the first place? It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my! So he stowed away to get here? He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact that he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zeeks. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zeeks with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask? He's proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zeeks. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being. Oh. I take it you also didn't know. That the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Yeah, you mean your crimes that you pinned on him. Gotcha. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... Ah, yes, Genshin Asogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain. They were such awful murders and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon. No one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London. The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand. Correct, however. It has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? The majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed anyway. Right, I see, but it was still murder, wasn't it? It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey. Okay, well, time to present you with evidence. Here is my armband. Could I show you this, Lord Strongheart? I'm the Lord Chief Justice. I'm not here to offer advice about evidence. Oh. Especially when the evidence in question is so dull. Ah, so that's the real reason. Alright, well, I guess I'm done talking to this asshole.
Alright, bye, Lord Asshole. Let's go home. 1st November, Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Okay, this is not the right place to go, apparently, but I'm going to call it here. I don't want to delve too much more into this before I, take it on in a more massive way next week. But for now, let's see if there's anyone on that I can raid. We can raid Bourbon Weasel. Ooh, no, I want to go here. No, here, right there. Yep, right there. Yeah, I haven't raided Bourbon Weasel before, but they're nice. Slash raid Bourbon Weasel. Okay, cool. That's charging up. So in the meantime, just some quick shout outs to Morrow for the resub. Thank you for that. Final Master Link for the raid. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. And Norman with the raid as well. Thank you so much, guys. You are awesome. You are champs, and I love you. Yeah, and a special shout out to all the chatters who participated and made it interesting and fun and cool. You guys are all awesome. X Gamer, Bryce, Kiwi, good to see you again. Mochi, hope everything's well. Morrow, I hope you went to bed. But thank you. Oh, I don't need that right now. But yeah. Norman, Diva, you guys are so cool. God, I love all of you. I wish I could remember. I wish I could shout out all of you, honestly. But I don't think I have a lot of time before this goes through. So, I'm going to be playing either Dead Space tomorrow or the new Ocarina of Time randomizer with Pot Sanity because I am a masochist for that game, so we'll see. But until then, I hope you guys have a good day, afternoon, evening. I hope you stay hydrated. I hope you stay healthy. And I look forward to my next chance to talk to y'all. So take care of yourselves until then, and I will see you then. So, later.